YouTuber Woobers, take 2. October 3rd. Yeah, 3rd. So, back far enough, am I? There we go. Keep your hands away from the buttons. So this panel here is a sub panel that's just for 110 outlets. Oh, except for that 220 outlet up in the corner that runs to this outlet right here. For this end of the house, the south side of the house has my where I sleep, has my oxygenator and my BiPAP and my chair, and where I sleep. So if the power goes off, I could basically run that side for a while. This panel over here is where the grid comes in from the main panel, and then it will run the dryer and that plug down below and the capacitor, and then power goes up to this upper panel up here where it runs to an interlock. Let's see if I can get in close instead of messing around with the zoom. So there's an interlock right there that's on those 2 breakers, and it prevents you from having them both on at the same time. The right one is to the generator plug and the left one is to the grid, and then the most left one goes down to the sub panel. There's maybe some redundancy in breakers, but I didn't really need that extra breaker in this panel, but it's there. So over here I have 2 generator plugs. The bottom one is for the south end of the house, this panel over here. However, I can run it off the transformer if I wish. And then, as I explained in the other video, you got the transformer. I made this interlock cover out of a plastic container so that I can cover over all the wires and keep those wires safe. I was looking for that terminal strip to actually have such a device, but couldn't find it on their website. And then this extra cord here, which is just here right now, actually goes down. It's dangling right there. So I have the option. My friend's going to drag out the other one of these inverters out of a secret place that we have them at. And so I redid this wall, and instead of doing the weird way I had them mounted, I got these at the Restore store, these shelves for like $2 each, and mollied them to the wall, and then remounted the circuit breaker box for the DC, the 175 amp breaker. So cleaned it up a little bit more. This is probably the final design. The only thing I have left now is to label everything. So there's a spot here for another inverter like the one that's there. Or if I end up getting some kind of a PIP or some other kind of inverter, I have room down here to do something else. Down here it just worked out that way. So a fairly simple layout. It's kind of complex, and it was a pain in the ass, mostly because I just didn't have everything I needed. Some of the breakers didn't work, so I had to go get other breakers. So I had to keep making runs to hardware store and Home Depot, because when you're working with a bigger cable, you got to have the right fittings to go into the boxes, do everything right, but it's done now. And this interlock up here, it's made by Square D, it's a kind of a touchy thing. It's really a close tolerance between locking the two breakers in place. But it's better than buying another one of these, I think. You know, and you add it up, because the thing is $22. Probably it costs more than it should cost. It was about $22 on Amazon, and it wasn't cheaper anywhere else with shipping. And then the boxes I could have done this maybe with one big panel, but I already had these two boxes, so that saved me, you know, probably $60, $70. Breakers, and then the breakers. So, you know, this way is simple. Do it that way, but I was just trying to save some money, and probably would have been better off just getting another one of those and putting it, you know, up here. Would still need a panel to take the power off. This doesn't give me any wiggle room to do something else with over here, but I really don't need anything else with this side of the house. So if I really needed something, we can always go into the main panel, you know, bigger air conditioner or something. But I won't think of anything else to put in this panel until, you know, I think I'm done, and then I'll think of it. But that's it, and wish everyone has a pleasant day. Ta-ta!